Asian Paints is in focus on the back of its earnings, and to discuss as to how the quarter has gone by and how things are shaping up for the entire paint sector, we're joined by Amit Syngle, MD and CEO of Asian Paints, joining us now. Mr. Syngle, always a pleasure speaking with you. I was listening to your con call yesterday, and I picked up a few things when you said that there is green shoots being seen in the urban demand. There's volume recovery that's also taken place this quarter, but I just want to get a sense from a longer term perspective, because paints now has been under pressure in the past, 5 to 6 odd quarters. Just want to get a sense in terms of recovery. When is the actual recovery expected on cards? From what I understand is cements is something that has picked up this quarter, and I believe that paint should follow that up as well. So in how many quarters are you expecting that recovery to happen?
So overall, as we see, I think, this quarter has been definitely much better in terms of what we have seen in the earlier quarters. We have seen good demand coming up in urban centers. At least the shoots of recovery are definitely much positive in terms of what is there. The rural segment, the sentiment is quite positive given the good onset of monsoons in terms of what we are seeing. The industrial sales have been very, very strong on the back of, a lot of capex which is getting invested in the country today to that extent. And we have been seeing a good surge in industrial, whether it is the auto, whether it is protective paints, or whether it is the industrial paints in terms of what go into the segment. The institutional B2B segment also has done fairly well on the back of government support, infrastructure investments in terms of what are taking place, airports, highways, and so on and so forth, everything coming up galore in terms of what we are able to see. I think these are very, very positive signs in terms of what possibly we are seeing in the environment in terms of looking at it. However, as we go forward, we will have to really look at the environment, some of the geopolitical stuff happening, some of the tariff structures which are achieving, because if I look at the entire FMCG and the consumer durable industry, that has been in pressure for some time, and today I think paint is a hybrid of the two industries in terms of how we see overall in terms of going ahead to that extent. So we are still kind of cautious in terms of looking at how demand would really pan out. We also have a shorter Diwali season this year as compared to last year, because Diwali is on 20th October. Overall, how it pans out. But I think one thing is which is certain is that I think the trends from industrial, trends from institutional would definitely continue. I think retail would possibly depend in terms of how the environment really pans out, how demand kind of opens up. But I think the early signs from the urban centers and from the rural centers seem to be pretty good in terms of what they're showing for the year.
So, but no sharp recovery can be expected this year. Is that reading correct?
Definitely, I think H1 we can't see there. H2 we will have to watch out in terms of what really happening, but we are not seeing that there is something which is magical happening, which is really kind of bringing back the demand in a very, very big way.
Okay. You also mentioned that the value versus volume growth is narrowing. You've seen a good recovery in terms of your volume growth this quarter. Just want to get a sense as to how this quarter has shaped up, because revenue growth was flat, but there was a good 3 to 4% of volume growth. So how has that happened, and plus any price hikes that you've taken?
So overall, as I said, April month was quite good in terms of what we see and experienced in terms of demand, and so was May relatively better as compared to the previous quarter. June we had pressure of an early monsoon which came in, and today for the paints industry, rains do kind of really upset the exterior painting very strongly to that extent. And I thought we got hit a little bit in June to that extent. Otherwise, this quarter would have been definitely much better from what we have delivered this time. Overall, the institutional, which is the B2B business where we cater to large building projects, we look at supplying to infrastructure projects, government, and so on and so forth. I think that has been still much better than the retail in terms of what we are seeing. Overall, from a point of view of industrial, again, if we look at, I think that has been a strong area. Auto has done well for us, industrial has done well for us, and protective paints have done overall quite well for us. And I think that is something which is a trend which we are seeing for the last 2-3 quarters to that extent. Urban centers definitely did relatively better, but I think so did rural. This thing for us, both urban and rural have done equally well in terms of looking at this quarter, in terms of what we see. So overall, I think those have been the larger trends, along with the fact that our global business has done quite well. In volume digits, they are double digits, and in value, they are at about 8% growth. So overall, I think across international, industrial, overall in terms of the core business, I think we have seen definitely a much better quarter.
Interesting. You did mention this, that industrial, automotive, as well as the protective coach segment has done well, and this has been the story in the past 2 to 3 odd quarters as well. Do you see some kind of segmental change mix or product mix that is happening because of these segments performing better than your home decor?
Yeah, see, I think as a stage in the overall kind of globalization and the industrialization of the country, I think we are seeing a very strong stage of the last 5, 7 years where the rate of industrialization in terms of what's happening in our country is much stronger. I mentioned about new technologies coming, a huge amount of new capex coming into new industries, and a lot of expansion which is taken in terms of the overall manufacturing industrial segment to that extent. And I think given this globalization which is impacting, I think we see a little bit of a segmental change in terms of an uptick of an industrial going much stronger in terms of overall rather than just the core retail in terms of what we see. The other change which we see is that the whole B2B business would possibly surge much stronger, where government would play a very strong part in terms of their contributions in terms of how they come in. But at the same time, I think home is a very interesting segment there. I think excitement will continue. I think given our population, investments into new homes, investments into rental homes would continue. So I think all in all, these things would kind of augur well in terms of looking at how future of this country goes from a point of view of paint industry.